Hey guys, it's William here, and today we're going to be talking about radiation therapy. That's what I had to go through with my cancer treatments. And so, up in this journey of mine, we have talked about the diagnosis, the surgery, the search for a hospital, all that stuff. So now we're at the point where I went through radiation therapy and along with chemotherapy at the same time. So hopefully you guys get some information out of this. And like I said, if I don't answer any of your questions in the video and you have some, just put them down in the comments. I'll try to get to that, yeah, for sure. It's been a couple months as of filming this that I have been out of radiation therapy, so I might forget a few things. I have a few notes on my phone that I'll be checking back to for specific stuff. But yeah, so it was about, I'd say, a month after surgery when they wanted my wound to be healed up and everything to the most of its ability before starting radiation therapy. So that was a nice little break of not being in the hospital really, and stuff like that. Only problem was, and this is a problem but not, I really loved MD Anderson, and I could have gone really to any hospital to do radiation therapy, but MD Anderson, it's interesting how they sell you on something. It's like, it's not really selling, it's like they're telling you the facts, and the facts sound so good with them that you would rather go with them than anybody else. That sounds bad, but the way they described it is they have a certain amount of people working on the GBM area of with radiation, and they have like other hospitals that just work on generic radiation. But for that area of radiation therapy, they have like 5 people dedicated to that section, and that's one of the people who'd be working on me. And I was like, well, that sounds way better than just going to any other hospital to do this. Not that you shouldn't go to any other hospital, it's just if you have the ability to go to MD Anderson for something more advanced like GBM, which is very rare, maybe you should look into that. Yeah. So anyways, that's how they sold it to me, and that's how I bought it. I was like, oh, I love this. Only problem is it's in Houston, and it's 5 days a week. So I don't live in Houston. I live about 4 hours away in Dallas. My parents live 2.5 hours away from Houston, but still, none of us live super close. So we decided we were gonna have to get an Airbnb for those 6 weeks, I believe it was. And so yeah, for 6 weeks I was living in Houston. Not fun to me. The drivers were crazy. These are all things that don't really matter, but the driving was crazy. Yeah, that was about it, really. That was really the worst part, to be honest. So day 1 didn't really feel anything. Day 2 didn't feel anything. It took about a couple weeks before I started feeling any side effects. And I would argue that most of the side effects I felt were really from the chemo pills, not the radiation. Maybe in conjunction, both of them, but it was mainly from the chemo pills, in my opinion, that I was having side effects from. Yes, hair loss was here. I really didn't grow my hair back from the surgery. It was slow, and so by the time I got to radiation, I just lost whatever I had grown back, and nothing has grown back since. You can see a little bit right here. It's starting to grow back slowly, but yeah, that's about the only major side effect from the radiation that I have currently felt. So 5 days a week, you would walk in to the hospital. They had a special place just for radiation patients. Parking was free for radiation patients, which was really cool. You just valet park your car, go inside, show them your card, they scan it, you're instantly put in the computer. If you arrive around your appointment time, they do a pretty good job, unless they're behind, of getting you in right away. Like 1 minute after being there and sitting down, they're like, all right, William, come to the back. And it's really convenient. I really like that. Every once in a while, it would be like 30 minutes, but that was the longest wait time I've ever had. There were a lot of elderly people in the waiting room, and it seems like they like to get there hours early for their appointments, and they would just be sitting there and sitting there. I was like, listen, you don't have to be waiting this long. Maybe I just didn't understand that they were there for something else, because right next to my room was the gamma knife radiation, which I don't know what that is, but that was not for me. Sounds kind of scary. So I would go back in the radiation room. They would lay me down on this bed thing, and I'll tell you what the name of the machine was, because you guys can look it up. Varian radiotherapy, and it's this fancy rotating. I don't know if you can see it on here. I'll try to put a picture if you can't see it in my shaky hands, but there it is, the big rotating machine. And I would get on there, and everything said and told, once you lay down, it's about 10 minutes. Sometimes it felt like even less. Maybe that's just me getting used to it. But I would just lay there, and bam, this big thing would go around, zzz, this big, making sound effects, this big circular disc, and this other part would go around my head. And it was crazy because this thing was huge. So these huge pieces rotating around me was scarier than what it was actually doing to me. The technicians would leave the room, close this gigantic, thick door that I never got a picture of. It was about that thick. They would close it because they didn't want to get radioed. And another thing I'll mention is that I had this creepy looking thing. This was my radiation mask. I don't know if you can see the outline of where my nose went, and then I had a mouth guard. That was the worst part, actually. So I would put this on, and I'd put it on right now, but it would mess my hair up, and I just took a shower, so I don't really, it already looks bad, but whatever. I would put this on, and then these would clip to the sides and the top of my head pretty roughly. So, like, I mean, I could move a little bit in there, but not like, you know, move around enough that it would cause damage to the radiation. They had marks. I don't remember really what they were for because I never asked, but where the lasers would go, the lasers and stuff like that. And so this would keep you in place. For different types of cancer, you had different masks or places. There's ones that went over the groin area for those types of cancer, which I don't have, and other stuff like that. So anyways, they let me keep the mask. I only pull it out to scare people and explain what I went through, obviously, because, you know, but it just felt weird. The mask didn't feel so weird. It was the bite block, the little plastic piece that went in my mouth, because it just reminded me of when I had braces, and I hated that. And I hated having this bite block in, especially with this mask, because it just felt confining. But it wasn't too bad. There were people who, one man was shaking heavily and couldn't go in the room because he had claustrophobia. They had to give him medication to calm him down. I met several people who had trouble going in there because of claustrophobia. The machine itself, you don't go in like a tube, like an MRI or anything like that. The machine itself goes around you, and it's loose parts, you can see through it, and you're not even strapped down except for the mask. So the mask I can definitely see causing someone to panic and have a claustrophobic moment, but other than that, for me, I didn't have any of those, thankfully. I felt really bad for the people who did. One man's wife was trying to explain to him that it wasn't actually happening the way he thought it was. I was like, ma'am, you haven't been in that machine. I can completely understand what he's going through. But yeah, so I did that 5 days a week, and then on the weekends and throughout the whole week, I was taking a chemo pill at night, with an anti-nausea pill as well. The one day I was out of anti-nausea medication, and I was like, you know what? I've been taking this for 2 weeks now. No big deal. Threw up. I was like, all right, never forgetting my anti-nausea medication again. Probably related. So that's what my thing was. The only real side effects I had to my chemo, and I'll talk about that more with my chemo video, or I'll talk about the chemo I'm on now, which is a lot higher dosage. But the only real side effects I had of the chemo were the nausea, and it was also cramps and constipation, which was not fun. Like, I really hated the chemo side effects much more than any radiation side effects. Because with radiation, you go in, 10 minutes, it's over, you leave. Nice technicians who really get to know you. They were incredible. They knew me by name. You could pick the music you wanted to hear while you're getting radiation done. So much fun. Constipation. The chemotherapy, you're just stuck with all day long, feeling side effects of it. No technicians to be like, man, this sucks. And they're like, I know, man. None of that. It was just you. But I did have my mom with me in Houston, which was amazing. Having somebody with you while going through this, I can only imagine, has a huge impact. And I just stayed as positive as I could. Positivity is another thing. I want to do a whole video talking about how my attitude was throughout this entire thing. Because while my family was struggling, because obviously someone close to them is going through something, I tried staying as positive as possible. And I think that really made an impact on them, and definitely me as well. So anyways, I ended my 6 weeks. I actually got off a few days before Christmas because they were closing down the hospital area for that time, and I got to go home for Christmas and got to see all my family, which was really awesome. I had family come visit me. If you do go to the MD Anderson in Houston, I definitely recommend checking out, people are going to judge me, but the Papa's restaurants. If you've heard of Papa Do's or Papacitos, those are great. But they have restaurants that are only available in the Houston area, and those would be Papa's Burgers. Best burger I've ever had. $15, but it's like half a pound of meat, and they make it from steaks. It's amazing. It's just the best burger I've ever had, to be honest. They have a Papa's Barbecue, which is okay. They have a Yeah Mary's, which is Greek food. I sound like I'm selling Papa stuff, but it was really interesting. We found out, I already love Papa Do's and other Papa's restaurants, but we found out that one of the family members of the Papa's family, a Greek family who owns those restaurant chains, one of them had cancer and went to MD Anderson and stuff like that, and they donate huge chunks of money every year. So it just made me love the Papa's restaurant chains even more. So yeah, that's not me trying to get you to go there because of that or anything. I say go there because the food's incredible. If you only pick one while you're in Houston, I say Papa's Burgers. It'll change your life, especially if you love burgers. If you like Greek food or want to try a good gyro, oh man, Yeah Mary's is amazing. This video turned into food recommendations, and I'm okay with that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this. Thank you guys. It just really means a lot to me. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep responding to the questions, but one day when I have like 20 questions or something, I'm going to get all the questions and all my answers and like make a video with me reading them off to you. So like it's just a video for people who want to just see questions and answers about cancer and GBM and stuff like that. So anyways, hopefully I'll make these videos more regularly, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.